course of this race. A very, very busy pit stop. So let's guide you through the grid then and the way that they line up. Andrew Windmill qualified his Honda on pole position, and Manoj Patel in the similar Civic sits alongside. Row 2 of the grid is Adam Brown and Danny Kassar, who had slave cylinder problems with his car. Row 3 of the grid sees Jay Slater line up alongside Richard Field, who will start in the Proton Persona, and it's James Wilson and Mick Dwayne that line up there on row number 4. On to the Civic Type R Leggera, as he calls it, because that Honda Civic there, the white one with the light blue flashes to it that starts from pole position, has been on a diet over the course of the last few years. He has stripped lots and lots and lots of weight out of that car. It still complies with the regulations, but it is a very light, very quick, very nimble Honda Civic with a very, very good driver behind the wheel of it. Manoj Patel, who was a race winner in Tin Top, sitting alongside in the TGM Sport car, the silver car with the blue and the yellow flashes to it. And then row 2 of the grid, it's the white and the blue and the grey Ford Fiesta of Adam Brown alongside the white and the light blue Danny Kassar driven Honda Integra. So they're in neat 2x2 order. They're coming up the centre straight up towards the starting line. The red lights are on the gantry, and we're about to get the Co-ordSport Tin Tops and Puma Cup race underway here at Snetterton. Neat 2x2 order, pace controlled beautifully well at the front. Red lights go out now, we're away and racing. It's a rocket of a start from Danny Kassar, who's going 3 wide. He's on the left hand side of Manoj Patel, and it looks so he's drawing the Honda Integra up to potentially into the lead of the race when they get towards Ritchie. Yes, sweeps across the nose of Andrew Windmill, and with those clutch slave cylinder problems behind him in the course of qualifying, he is already up into the lead of the race even before they get towards Ritchie's corner. So it's Danny Kassar that leads the way. Cold rear tyres almost get away from him as he heads in towards the Wilson hairpin. It's Andrew Windmill that's there in second position, Manoj Patel down into third, but everybody by the look of things treading gingerly on what is cold tyres, on what it might still be in a couple of places a slightly damp circuit.
Yeah, but a damp circuit that is definitely drying as well, because the sun is well and truly out. The wind is still blowing, albeit not as strong as it was this morning, so the conditions will only get better. Danny Kassar still remains in the lead after starting in 4th place. Manoj Patel has gone from the outside of the front row of the grid down into 4th place. It's all go in the mid-pack. You can see heading through Agostini now, the 234 of James Wilson in his Peugeot, fighting away with one of the Renault Clios we've got out. I didn't quite pick out exactly who that was. That was Michael Dwayne in the 777 machine, but already Danny Kassar making his intentions known up into the lead. You can see heading onto the Bentley straight now, hard on the brake through Williams, the inside rear wheel lifting off the ground, a little bit of locking, still cold rear tyres, still cold brakes as well, albeit the second green flag lap will have helped. Back down the Bentley straight goes Michael Dwayne, having just made up that position, looking to make it another in the on the way into Brundle and Nelson. I've got a feeling Manoj Patel is under pressure already. If not, he's already lost a position and down into 5th place.
with, as well as these tricky weather conditions, and now up towards Agostini. We're pretty much nose to tail for the lead of the race. Andrew Windmill still leading the way. Danny Cassar is edging ever closer and is now pretty much on the boot lid of the car that is in the lead of the race, and trying to hunt him down as they flick their way through Hamilton in towards a braking area for Oggies, where there's a back marker slap bang in the middle of the road that can't really get out of the way, and Andrew Windmill's trying to carve his way through and past without losing a great deal of time. For the moment, Andrew Windmill still hangs on to the lead.
Yeah, just a little bit further up the road from the lead battle is Mark Carey trying to defend from Eric Bolton. Heading onto the Bentley Straight once again goes Danny Cassar, still closing up on the tail end of Andrew Windmill. Arguably in the rain, I'd say Danny Cassar's car slightly easier to drive. He's got the longer wheelbase, and then heading in towards Brundle and Nelson, Danny Cassar flicks the car to the inside. Andrew Windmill doesn't really go defensive, but it's not really worth making that move just as of yet. Still with 3 minutes of the race remaining, and then flicking left and right on the exit of Nelson is the number 8. I think that's David Mann that's now in that Mazda RX-8, and Danny Cassar, David Rayburn now in driving that car, but Danny Cassar on the way into Coreham retakes the lead of the race. Andrew Windmill can't really do too much about it apart from keep his headlights on and start pushing forward to try and force the mistake from Danny, but Danny very experienced in that Honda Integra through the final corner, a flick of oversteer but very well held, still keeps it within track limits, and Danny Cassar in the lead of the race.
In the lead of the race, but it's getting worse and worse and worse. The rain is getting heavier, it's getting heavier and heavier and heavier. Any temperature that's in the tyres is slowly dissipating and disappearing now, and you can almost see a bit of spray coming up now as well, so they're going to have to tread very gingerly on what is now highly likely to be their final lap. There was about a lap time left as they came over the start and finish line, but of course the times are going to be slower, which means I don't think we'll get another lap squeezed out of this one. Danny Cassar still leading the way, needs to be careful as he brakes on wet tarmac down in towards Wilson. There's back markers just ahead of him as well, and they're not quite going to get past the back markers by the time they exit the corner. We've also got Blair Roebuck off the circuit. I said he'd had a good run through the order from, what was it, down in something like 14th. Well, he was up to 6th, but he's thrown the car off the circuit at Agostini and rallycrossed his way back onto the tarmac, so it's getting tricky out there. And we've had the change for the lead. Andrew Windmill, coming out of Wilson on the run towards Palmer, has retaken the lead of the race, and Danny Cassar is down into second once more. There's still traffic as they head in towards Agostini.
Yeah, queued up, Mike, just as I saw that as well, the change for the lead. There was very little in it. Danny Cassar's car, just as I said it looks like it's not quite as comfortable, or maybe not set up for the wet conditions, but that is still Andrew Windmill in the lead of the race. He managed to put a car between himself and Danny Cassar crucially as well. Danny Cassar back on the tail of Andrew Windmill. This is the battle for the lead now, heading in towards Oggies, and then up towards Williams to head onto the Bentley Straight for what will be the final time. There's still nothing to pick between the pair of them. Danny Cassar pulling over to the right hand side, potentially going defensive on the way in towards Williams, maybe struggling to put the power down, and he just can't get the car off the corner.
Yeah, he's almost getting caught by Eric Bolton at the wheel of the Ford Fiesta. Well, Eric Bolton is a lap adrift and is down in 8th position at the moment, but yeah, through that section of the circuit, although the Fiesta was quicker than the Honda. Down the Bentley Straight for the final time they'll go, in towards the braking area for Brundle and Nelson. You can see our poor old television camera down there through Brundle and Nelson is rather wet and misting up almost, but it is still Andrew Windmill that leads the way. The checkered flag should be ready for them next time through, because there's only 20 seconds or so remaining on the clock. We've also got a 30-second penalty for an unsafe release, I'm afraid, for the two Allens, Alan Wiltshire, Alan Churchyard. That car that's running in 23rd place will pick up a penalty.
It will indeed, and I've just been watching to see what happens for the lead, but that was Andrew Windmill very, very sideways, heading through Coreham, then all over the grass, doing what he can to defend from Danny Cassar in towards the final corner. There was nothing to pick between the pair of them on the way in. There's still nothing on the way out. Danny's diving towards the puddles. He goes over to the left-hand side, struggles to put the power down, but towards the line to take the win will just about be Andrew Windmill, or will it? Yes, it will. A flash of the lights. Andrew Windmill takes the win here at Snetterton. Danny Cassar, there must have been nothing to pick between the pair of them. A 10th at the line.
So let's just confirm the results for you then, for the Tin Tops and the Puma Cup, the Co-ordSport Tin Tops. Andrew Windmill claims the win and will pick up a 30-second penalty for the rest of the season. Danny Cassar was second. Adam Brown was third, but won his class, with James Wilson in fourth, also a class winner. The fields, Richard Field and Richard Jason Field were there in fifth place, winning their class from Blair Roebuck, who completes the top six. Then it was Mark Carey, Eric Bolton, Miles Mosley. The Reynolds and Ridgeon car completed the top 10. Jack Hordley finished in at 11th place ahead of Deere and Campbell. Luke Johnson wins the Puma Cup in 13th place ahead of Noppert Wiggendon with James Clare, Catherine Henderson, Stuart Eardley. Mitchell Rust ahead of Cockgrove, and then the Man and Rayburn Mazda. James Manning finished in 22nd place, and it was the two Allens, Wiltshire and Churchyard, were the last of the finishers. So with everybody else that you can see there being a non-finisher, Danny Cassar setting the fastest lap of the race. Let's hand you downstairs to Jack Werrell, who I think is going to chat to one or two of the drivers from the Co-ordSport's Tin Thompson Puma Cup.